against Bitcoin.
It's going up forever.
You're against Bitcoin, you're against freedom.
Yo, welcome to Simply Bitcoin Live, your number one resource for the peaceful Bitcoin revolution, cover breaking news, culture, medic warfare. We'll be your guide through the separation of money and state. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to Simply Bitcoin, the most watched daily Bitcoin live show on YouTube, Rumble, and X. Sit back, relax, enjoy the ride. We have a lot to talk about today, lots to analyze, lots to unpack. Jack Dorsey's block is adding more Bitcoin to their balance sheet. I think this is setting a roadmap for other companies. They're putting 10% of their profits into Bitcoin at the end of every quarter. And of course, every company that adopts a Bitcoin strategy or adopts some type of a Bitcoin standard has a major competitive advantage. They have a cheat code against other companies. That's why it was a huge deal when the second largest bank in Europe announced yesterday. They made a very small purchase. It was like $40,000. They bought $40,000 worth of the BlackRock iShares Bitcoin ETF, but still, number go up, it's going to do its thing, and then market incentives, will take care of the rest. So definitely making progress in that sense. And the other thing that I wanted to talk about today as well, and really break it down, is this gentleman called Jared Bernstein. There's a video of him that's going absolutely viral on Bitcoin Twitter. I believe it's a clip from a movie of some sort. But anyways, he is the chief economist and economic advisor to he was the chief economist and economic advisor to Vice President Joe Biden in the Obama administration, and now he's currently the chair of the United States Council of Economic Affairs. Economic advisors. Anyways, in this clip, he kind of fumbles and he's like, I don't know, like we just print money, and he can't explain it. He can't justify it. And a lot of the Bitcoiners are saying like, look, like these people have no idea what they're doing. I'm going to make the case that they know exactly why they're doing. Why am I saying that? Because he is part of the Council of Economic Advisors, and they're the ones that are responsible for writing the annual presidential economic report. We've covered that report. That report in 2023 dedicated 20 pages making the case as to why central bank digital currencies are necessary and making the case against Bitcoin. So, it's a lot easier to play dumb. Like we even have a saying in Spanish for it, which is like "hasta el pendejo," which basically means like act dumb, be stupid. And you can get away with a lot of things when you act dumb and you pretend like you don't know what you're talking about. So we're going to break it down and just kind of make the case for you guys. Also, Coinbase finally launched their Lightning integration. And as much as you guys dislike Coinbase, and they are an altcoin casino, I totally agree with that. You should be using Bitcoin on-ramps. The fact is that they have a massive user base, right? So the fact that they're integrating Lightning, I think, is a big win for the Bitcoin Lightning Network. It's a big win for more people using Lightning Network, for more people using Bitcoin. And I understand a lot of you guys feel a certain way about Coinbase, and it's totally understandable, but that's the reality. Like Coinbase's user base is absolutely massive. So anyways, it's going to be a great show, everybody. So buckle up and enjoy the ride. Anyways, I do want to bring a legendary co-host who's always optimistic. He's currently modeling the Simply Bitcoin merch, the Peaceful Bitcoin Revolution shirt. You can scan the QR code on your screen, or you can check the link in the video description, and it will take you directly to simplybitcoin.com, where you can get yourself a Peaceful Bitcoin Revolution shirt. We also got dad hats, snapbacks, all that stuff. How you doing, Opti? What's up, bro?
Man, I'm doing great. It's a great Friday. And yeah, man, just life's good. Life's good on the Bitcoin standard. But there is two things I want to hit on first and foremost. I really understand that the economic advisor guys, what's his name, Bernstein, acting stupid. That's my whole shtick, guys. I just act stupid, and look at you guys. You love it. It's amazing. There was one other thing I wanted to say, but I completely forgot already. It's just a good Friday. Everything's great. Let's bring up our guests, because we're already having a spicy conversation before the show. We probably can't say half the stuff we were saying live on air, but hey,
I don't remember.
We're being very good here. Very good here.
What are you talking about, dude? What are you
We
talking
got the
about,
legendary Alex Stanzik and Shane Hazel. Good to have you guys. How you guys doing this morning?
Awesome, man. It's good to be
with
here.
you guys, yeah.
Well,
Let's go.
I'm excited because we're going to talk about one of my favorite projects in Bitcoin recently. And I've seen Alex go through the motions. You know, you guys created this, Shane, all of you guys, and you guys created the Bitcoin Veterans, right? You guys have a podcast. You guys are inviting incredible guests. But more importantly, the way that I see it is the community that you guys are fostering and the amount of interest that you guys are seeing, nationwide on all these veterans, armed veterans that love Bitcoin. That's absolutely awesome. So, if you guys could give like a quick elevator pitch, what is Bitcoin Veterans? What it's about. Can anyone join? Alex, Shane?
Yeah, I'll jump in on that. So Shane and I started this on Twitter some time ago. We were like, hey, we should maybe, make a group that we could talk to each other on Twitter. We opened up that group. Next thing you know, within like 48 hours, we hit the limits on it in terms of how many people we could have. And we're like, oh crap, we need a bigger boat maybe. And then let's start this thing up on Signal, started adding channels where people could come and talk. And it's really blown up since then. I think we've been doing it not quite a year, something like 8 months or something like that. But we're already approaching close to 500 people in our different chat groups. It's exploding. We had no idea there were this many veterans in Bitcoin, but really, apparently, all it took was somebody planting a flag going, boom, we're here. Let's get together. Let's talk. And it's an amazing thing. So our vision for this thing is basically Bitcoin Veterans is here to help warriors find purpose, develop leaders, create communities, extended support networks. We want to inspire veterans to continue to learn, grow, become better men by sharpening each other, getting around a bunch of dudes that are not going to put up with any bullshit. They're not going to buy your weenie ass excuses. It's going to just be like straight up, like, hey, this is the deal. And if you need to improve, it becomes pretty obvious. We don't even need to say anything. Like, this is what I've noticed. All the guys who get around it, they just start getting better, man. They do it with they look at their own, they take stock of themselves and like, all right, I need to fix this. Maybe I'm too fucking fat and I need to start working out again. Or maybe I need to improve this thing over here in my life, or whatever the case may be. Am I allowed to say that word on your show? I already did. So,
Yes.
So like, yeah. And then like the rest of it is we want to empower leaders to basically integrate and strengthen resilience in their local communities. And we're also real big on renewing the bonds of honor and respect among each other and amongst men. Anybody can get involved. You don't have to be just a veteran to get involved. We've got first responders, law enforcement guys, firefighters, and we also have a completely we have what we call a civilian division. That thing's blowing up too. So reach out to us.
Yeah, dude, that's absolutely awesome, dude. Shane, do you want to chime in?
Yeah, I think there's there's a kind of this mysticism around military life. I think from a lot of people that were never in. I think a lot of people just think that everybody's like, hey, this bloodthirsty combatant. I'm not saying everybody. Obviously, in the South, everybody's like, oh yeah. But the idea that a lot of these guys had signed up in the beginning because they wanted to go off to war, or they wanted to go and kill people, or take over countries, or do any of this really sinister, terrible stuff. We like to try to dispel that right up front. Most of these guys that were first of all not combatants. First and foremost. The second side of that is even the combatants that do go in, they're not 99.9 something % of them are not going in to be these warmongers. They really sign up because of a sense of pride, of protection. They love the idea of America. They love the idea of freedom, self-sovereignty, the American dream, being able to own your own house and have a wife and kids and all these things, and basically make a living for yourself and really hurt nobody at the end of the day. And that's what they went off to protect. When they signed that dotted line. Yeah, obviously, that gets perverted along the line somewhere, whether it was in the indoctrination courses that we, got forced into at 5 years old until we graduated. Some of us went on for, higher indoctrination in colleges, where you see a bunch of, the Marxism and everybody else. Same here, Opti. And you really start to see that perversion where they twist that love for your fellow man into this, channel that, well, hey, we're going to go overseas and we're going to start othering people. We're going to start taking over their country. This is what we're telling you we're going over here for. And then you get over there and you actually see what you're there for. And it's obviously the MIC, it's the banks, it's all these, ridiculous politicians that are out there that, benefit from a fiat system. And when you see it, you can't help but go, maybe this isn't for me. Maybe I recognize the bill of goods that I was sold, and it's absolutely fake and perverse. And at that point, guys come back, and a lot of times they're not the same guys. First and foremost, a piece of them maybe stayed over there, maybe part of their soul, things that they're going to deal with for the rest of their life, and they start looking at their life here in America as a little more nihilistic, and we're gonna have to fight our way out of this, and blood and guts again and all that fun stuff. And you're like, no, guys, hey, listen, let me tell you about this Bitcoin standard thing that we're rocking over here. There is a lot of hope. There is an amazing amount of minds over here that is just absolutely aligned with the ideas of America. This freedom, this putting the individual first before the rest of society. And so to help introduce people and guys that had just so much love for this country and their fellow man back into this passion, this mission that is the American idea of freedom. It's a hell of a thing to be a part of. And like Alex was saying, not only are we across the United States, but we've got an international footprint now. And there are guys from all over the place that are not only looking for this, but they are gravitating towards it, and they fix themselves because of what they see. And it's an amazing example to be a part of.
I love that, man. I love that.
Wait, the chat says we need some. And then also, Nika, go on. Sorry, we got a super chat though, but go on.
Quick super chat. Thank you, John, for the $20. The info and knowledge you guys provide every day is priceless. You all will be our future leaders. I appreciate that. I'm trying to be just trying to tell you guys the news and make content for you guys, but I really appreciate that. Thank you, John.
Wait, Nika, we're the future leaders. We got problems.
No, I'm not, dude. I mean, like, bro, like I really believe in the theory of the sovereign individual, bro, where Bitcoin makes politics irrelevant, and let meritocracy take hold, let the entrepreneurs drive society, rather than politicians. That's where my head's at. Anyways, maybe it's an extremist point of view, but that's what I believe. Anyways, going back to Shane's point before we jump into the numbers, yeah, dude, these veterans, man, they serve their country. War is hell. They experienced things that people can't even imagine, and they come back and it's like they're on a fiat standard, which like it exacerbates the already kind of potentially vulnerable state that they're in. And it's exactly what you said. Bitcoin provides that hope. Bitcoin provides this way forward to really not only heal America, but like heal the world, really. And it's I'm gonna steal your line, Alex. It gives people a newfound mission, right? Like a newfound purpose. And all you got to do to be a part of that is take Bitcoin into self-custody, and you're revolutionary fighting for freedom, right? Anyways, it's going to be a great show. I can't wait. Lots to unpack. It is Friday. So last time I tried to take out the meme review, but Opti yelled at me, and it seems like the show did well. So you guys appreciate it. So we're going to do the meme review. It is a long Friday show, but it seems like you guys enjoyed the meme review. So we're definitely going to do it. Anyways, ladies and gentlemen, before we jump into the show, I do want to give a very special shout out to our lead sponsor, the Bitcoin company that powers Simply Bitcoin. And of course, I'm talking about Bitcoin Well. Bitcoin Well is the best place to build your automatic self-custody Bitcoin stack. It is self-custody by default, future-proof your money. What does that mean? That means that you can't buy Bitcoin on Bitcoin Well unless you're going to take self-custody. Self-custody is the revolution, which perfectly aligns with the Simply Bitcoin ethos of the separation of money and state. It's a publicly traded company coming out of Canada that recently expanded to all 50 US states. Go to bitcoinwell.com/simply to get started today. Also, if you're a Canadian customer of Bitcoin Well, they recently announced the cash vouchers now available to light accounts in the Bitcoin portal. Canadian customers can now buy Bitcoin with a Bitcoin Well account using cash vouchers, a payment rail designed to safely eliminate barriers to first-time Bitcoin well customers. Guys, support self-custody by default Bitcoin on-ramps. Go to bitcoinwell.com/simply and get started today. All right, everybody, let's hit the numbers.
The Bitcoin numbers.
Is your Bitcoin in cold storage really secure? Is your seed phrase really secure? Stamp Seed's do-it-yourself kit has everything you need to hammer your seed words into commercial-grade titanium plates instead of just writing them on paper. Don't store your generational wealth on paper. Paper is prone to water damage, fire damage. You want to put your generational wealth on one of the strongest metals on planet Earth, titanium. Your words are actually stamped into this metal plate with this hammer and these letter stamps. And once your words are in, they aren't going anywhere. No risk of the plate breaking apart and pieces falling everywhere. Titanium stamped seeds will survive nearly triple the heat produced by a house fire. They're also crush-proof, waterproof, non-corrosive, and time-proof. All things that paper is not, allowing you to hodl your Bitcoin with peace of mind for the long haul. Stamp your seed on Stamp Seed. All right, guys, I made it incredibly easy for you guys. You could scan the QR code on your screen right now. It'll take you directly to the Stamp Seed website where you can use promo code SIMPLY. Get 15% off. Stamp your generational wealth on titanium. Don't put it on paper. You don't want to have that conversation with your grandchildren, your children. That would suck. Like, could you imagine that? Like, Grandpa, like, that Bitcoin, did you stack it? No, I lost it because I stored it on paper. Don't be that guy. Stamp it on titanium. At the time of recording, the Bitcoin price is 61,990. Block height, 841,935. Sats per dollar, 1,613. Market cap, 1.22 trillion. Bitcoin priced in gold, 27.1 ounces. Bitcoin versus gold market cap, 7.75%. Percentage issued, 93.77. Decline from all-time high. Currently, if you buy Bitcoin right now, you'll get it at a 15.9% discount. Forward monetary inflation, 0.85%. It's, dude, like, we're literally taking fiat currencies to absolute school. Realized monetary inflation, 1.7%. Even if they get it back to the 2% number, Bitcoin is still effing them up. And with the halving 4 years from now, it's going to continue to F them up forever. Anyways, so I do want to play this video. It went absolutely viral this morning. I believe it's, I think it's from a film. So credit to these guys. So Finding the Money film in theaters on demand May 3rd. So shout out. Oh, I definitely want to buy this if it's out now. So so definitely go check out this film, guys. It's a clip from the film. But check this out because, I mean, I'll let you guys be the judge.
The U.S. government can't go bankrupt because we can print our own money.
It obviously begs the question, why exactly are we borrowing in a currency that we print ourselves? I'm waiting for someone to stand up and say, why do we borrow our own currency in the first place?
Like you said, they print the dollar, so why does the government even borrow?
Well, I mean, again, some of this stuff gets, some of the language that some of the language and concepts are just confusing. I mean, the government definitely prints money, and it definitely lends that money, which is why the government definitely prints money, and then it lends that money by selling bonds. Is that what they do?
Before I continue, guys, this is the chair of the Council of Economic Advisors to President Joe Biden.
Sell bonds. Yeah, they sell bonds, right? Because they sell bonds and people buy the bonds and lend them the money. Yeah, so a lot of times, at least to my ear with MMT, the language and the concepts can be kind of unnecessarily confusing, but there is no question that the government prints money and then it uses that money to, yeah, I guess I can't really talk. I don't get it. I don't know what they're talking about. Like, cause it's like the government clearly prints money. It does it all the time, and it clearly borrows. Otherwise, we wouldn't be having this debt and deficit conversation. So I don't think there's anything confusing there.
I mean, like, again, if this was
I love the background music. Sorry, Nico. The background music is great.
No, and for dramatic effect. If this was just some person off the street and they would say that response, you would say, okay, you know, that's fine. but this was the chief economist and an economic advisor to Vice President Joe Biden, the Obama administration. And now currently he's the chair of the United States Council of Economic Advisors. He also said something during that video that was really interesting. He said, yeah, Treasury issues bonds and people buy them. Listen, there is no sovereign wealth fund or country on earth that has the money to buy the amount of bonds the Treasury is issuing. You know who's buying them? The Federal Reserve themselves, right? So like, again, but most people don't know this. And honestly, I don't you can't say this person's dumb. He went to Columbia University, right? He has a doctorate, right? You can't say he's dumb. You don't become the chief economist and economic advisor to depends on who you're asking, but you can't say he's not intelligent. You can't say he's not a capable person. I will make the case that I believe it's a little bit more sinister than this. And the reason for that is specifically, and when I discovered that this morning when I was doing research for the show, my jaw dropped. So what is the Council of Economic Advisors? So the Council of Economic Advisors says is a United States agency within the executive office of the president, which advises the president of the United States on economic policy. The CEA provides much of the empirical research for the White House and prepares the publicly available annual economic report of the president. Now, we covered one of these economic reports when they came out last year, because in one of those economic reports, you know what they did? They attacked Bitcoin. And you know what they promoted? They promoted central bank digital currencies. And this report was very, very well written. So again, I'm sorry if I don't his answers are just like non-answers. I don't know what they do. Like they borrow the money. Like it almost feels a little bit like a deflection. And in this report, they dedicated 20 entire pages basically making the case for central banks, making the case for fiat money, making the case for central bank digital currencies, and criticizing Bitcoin, saying Bitcoin can't be money. Well, it's apparently money when it's convenient to law enforcement, right? But anyways, I kind of want to read you a little bit of the beginning of this report that came out. It was released last year. And by the way, it came out of this guy's office who just did that video. That interview came out of his office, right? So anyways, it goes on to say, the name of the chapter is Digital Assets Relearning Economic Principles. Multiple financial crises have struck the United States during the last 2 centuries. Most of these crises have been caused by institutions that function like banks but are not registered or regulated as banks, so-called shadow banks. For example, the 1907 crisis, then called the Panic, was mainly caused by trust companies, which were state-chartered entities that competed with banks for deposits. Because these trusts were not part of the central payment system and thus processed only a small amount of payments, they did not hold a large amount of cash relative to deposits. To earn profits, they made as many loans as possible. After a series of events in October 1907 set off a rush for withdrawals. Several trust funds faced a run and were forced to suspend credit and liquidate assets, acting as a catalyst for a larger fire sale in financial markets. To save the financial system, JP Morgan, owner of the eponymous bank, and a small number of other financial leaders individually chose which banks to bail out. This helped government policymakers realize that when faced with a crisis, the financial system, as then constituted, would rely on a privileged group of individuals seeking to maximize their own profits rather than institutions that had an obligation to protect the public's interest. Okay, that sounds nice. You're like, wow, you know what? That's so true. Like this 1907 crisis. All right, I'm going to curse, and I apologize, guys. You know what the biggest motherfucking crisis in U.S. history was? The 1933 Depression. You know what the second biggest? 2008. You know what happened? The central bank was there. It was there. It existed. It was established. What the fuck happened? They're completely ignoring that. Completely ignoring that. Completely ignoring the fact that we still have not completely gone over 2008. The wealth redistribution, the fact that it's taking the opportunities from the lower and middle classes, which disproportionately are the Zoomers and the millennials, doesn't allow them to buy a house. Yes, there's consequences to this. And that all happened when the government had control. that all happened when they had the central bank that they're touting. So the fact that they're picking and choosing dates, 1907, what about 1933? That's not a convenient date, so they can't say that, right? What about 2008? They can't say that. That's not a convenient date, right? So again, forgive me if I don't believe his shtick and saying, yeah, the government prints money and like it kind of borrows funds. And like, if you say that, then you don't have to answer. You don't have to actually answer to what is happening. You don't have to answer to the unintended consequences, or maybe they are intended, who knows, right? Of what a central banking system has done to this country. And I can't help to think of Ron Paul's, and, you know, we have the Bitcoin veterans here. But, you know, I don't think it's a coincidence that the bloodiest century in human history was also the century of central banking. That's not my quote. That's Ron Paul's quote. But I mean, like, is that what you guys are standing up for? Like, is that what, you know, is that what it's about? I think it's a bunch of BS, in my opinion. And if you continue down this court, like, for example, look at this, guys. Look at this. It's a taxonomy of digital assets and central bank money. Look what's in the middle, everybody. Right. But no, remember, they're not working on the CBDCs. That's impossible. Right. This is coming out of the White House. Right. Central bank money, cash, you know, cryptocurrencies, stable coins, NFTs, crypto assets, digital assets, and CBDCs are perfect. They're right in the middle. They have all the benefits of the two. So again, don't pay attention to what they say. Pay attention to what they do. And remember,
just like the Bible says, it's basically an intergalactic invasion into this space through people. I'm telling you, it's what all the ancients said. It's what they warned of. It's what we're dealing with. They're demons.
So yeah, man. I don't know what to say. Like, a bunch of BS. You know, like, that's my take on all this. Anyways, Opti, I'm going to start with you, and then we'll pass it on to the.
Oh my God, I'm in tears. That was hilarious. That was a good segue. Nico. Good stuff. That's good entertainment, I'll tell you. All right, first and foremost, I really love the take you're saying on today's show. But taking the more like normie take here, you know, like the MMTers, the modern monetary theory guys, people, women, and men out there, like, they're a complete joke. Like, I seriously don't believe that they even believe the nonsense that they say publicly, but they still come out and say this stuff. And the worst part, in my opinion, is that people eat this up, that people actually believe this is how economics works and this is the best for the economy or this is the best for the world. And it's like, you guys are so detached from reality. It goes back to what we always say about the brainwashing and the psyoping out there and the gaslighting, and that this is the only way to have a functional modern economy and all this nonsense, when all of us, you know, left bell IQ Bitcoiners that are Austrian Bitcoiners are like, look, humans act purposefully. Like, you don't need to influence people to spend their money. They will do that anyway. And this is why we always say on the show constantly, we're probably a broken record at this point. It's like, just simplify your life, guys. Like, seek the simple answers. It's simply Bitcoin, saving Bitcoin. This is how you protect yourself. Because even these guys, and I love how Nico framed this, because they couldn't even answer the questions like simply. They're even lost in their own lives at this point.
I don't believe that. I don't believe that.
I totally agree.
I think it's so much easier to just play dumb. It's so much easier, because then it's like, oh, they just don't know any better, but they're trying. Like, they're trying to, like, it's so much easier to do that than being like the malicious twirling your mustache. It's like, yeah, the government prints money. Like it reminds me of that politician in California, right, where he literally said the quiet part out loud. Right. He's like,
Brad Sherman, my favorite politician.
He's like, yeah, the U.S. government prints money, but we're the U.S. government. Like, I don't think that would be a very popular stance with a portion of the population. Right. So I think it's a lot easier to just be like, oh, well, yeah. I mean, I'm actually not qualified to answer this question. Bro, you're the economic advisor of the president. Who the fuck is?
Well, Nico, going further, they can't outright say, yes, we are trying to steal from you as much as we can, because most people would freak out. And I think that's why MMT or modern economics, quote unquote, is so complicated on purpose. It's all engineered to confuse you so you get lost in the rabbit hole, so you really don't understand what's happening. And that's why they come out here and act stupid. So they're like, oh man, I don't know. It's super complicated. You wouldn't get it. It's like, yeah, we're trying to steal from you and we make it complicated on purpose. Anyways, let's go to Alex. Alex, jump in.
No, I think that's all. I think that's all correct. I agree that this guy probably actually knows. He has to pretend he doesn't know. Like, and there's a couple of parts that you mentioned here. Number one, do these people actually believe this nonsense that they're spouting? Or I don't think that they necessarily do. I think there's an agenda, and then they will create a certain narrative. They'll create a certain amount of propaganda, and there are a lot of people who aren't that smart who will believe this nonsense.
Yep.
But I do believe these guys know what they're doing. I do believe that, Nico, you mentioned that it looked like a deflection, possibly. I agree with that 100%. I think he was absolutely deflecting. I think that all of this stuff is made intentionally obscure and complex and difficult to understand. Why? Because it stops people from digging too far into the con. The other thing about it is, really what she's saying is she's getting at the root of the issue, which is, well, if they're just going to print all this money, and they can print all this money, what's the point of borrowing it? It's the same question that gets asked by people like, well, if they're going to print $1 trillion every 100 days, why do we pay taxes? And the answer is essentially the same. See, if they pretend that they're borrowing it, right, that gives it an air of moral cover that sort of implies that it's going to get paid back later. So it's not really just outright printing the money. And the same is true for the tax thing. Like, if they just stopped doing that, we're borrowing it and going to pay it back, and if they just stopped doing the we need your taxes and instead just printed whatever frickin' amount they wanted, that would take the mask off the, well, I guess you would just see it for what it is. Like, this is clown world. Like, nobody would take it seriously anymore. Confidence in the United States dollar would implode, and the whole world would be like, holy shit, this whole thing's a con. And it's obvious.
Yeah. Yeah.
Well, remember, Stephanie's very famous. I'm pretty sure it's Stephanie Counton who came out and said, you know, and every other economist out there, debt's debt's money we owe ourselves, Alex. So why are you so selfish?
It's utterly ridiculous, man.
All right, jump in, Shane.
Yeah, let's understand first and foremost, we are in economic warfare, and I think this is maybe something that we kind of bring to the table that we maybe a lot of people don't see is when we go in or we do any sort of revolutionary, operations in another country, whether it's military or three-letter agencies. One of the first things that we do is we start hitting them economically years before, whether it's sanctions, whether it's cutting off ports or whatever we have to do in terms of blockades. And that's where America started. I think we really ramped it up into high gear in 2020 when you started to see the government come out. And if you didn't do certain things with certain medical, vaccines that were coming out at that time, they started forcing thinking people out of positions in the economy. And when you do that, what you're left with is a bunch of yes men, probably that aren't as good at their job. And you're starting to see the second and third order effects of that in America now from 2020, 21, 2022, as those companies are now starting to really kind of go through the death throes. This economic warfare plan that they have is coming, full circle. The idea that this guy is smart, yeah, maybe he is, obviously Columbia University, but there's also this side of what happens in these revolutions with three-letter agencies out there where they will literally install these guys who are that are fart sniffers, right? Like, these guys will sit there and sniff their own farts long enough and believe everything, all the accolades and everything else that's been heaved on them by academia and this fiat system. And then they get put into these positions. And a lot of times these guys are recommended or pushed to the top by the three-letter agencies. So if we really understand it, hey, maybe this guy, maybe he is really, really bright, but maybe he's also a useful idiot at the same time, both true, right? And so if we're watching this guy and saying, maybe he does, maybe he doesn't, or maybe he's so far down the line because what they know they need is an economic collapse of the United States of America to push this thing full circle. So if we understand this in a bigger context, And they're obviously MMT is coming or on the way, and CBDCs are right behind it. You know, the idea that, you know, we're talking about, you know, Powell or any of these others out there that, you know, will get up in front of microphones and talk like they're experts that really don't have any plan one way or another, because you can't raise interest rates, you can't lower interest rates. And if we were looking at it and going, well, obviously, you know, they launched Fed Now in the summer of 2023. That's a full-on admission that the dollar is in deep shit. And if the dollar's in deep shit, they know it, then they're going to have some sort of contingency plan, because at the end of the day, you know, you have what, $220 trillion in unfunded liabilities. Things begin to happen when you begin to rob an entire populace of its savings and retirement that you told them that was going to be there, without any sort of backstop plan or a way out of that. So I don't know. Could be an extremely bright guy, but also a useful idiot for the state at the same time, because that way they can point at him and go, well, that was the guy, and now he's the guy instead of the 3-letter agency taking the hit.
Yeah, that's a really good point, right? The level of statecraft, right, is I think it's lost upon a lot of people, because, you know, these 3-letter agencies they've mastered regime change. They've mastered controlling the populace. They've mastered statecraft. So yeah, I mean, I would not put it past them. That's actually really, really good observation, Shane. Yeah, man. But listen, I think this is one of those things that Bitcoin fixes, and but at the same time, I don't expect them not to fight back. And I think, you know, the arrests that happened this week, the Samurai wallet, the Tornado Cash, you know, CZ getting sentenced, Roger Ver getting arrested in Spain, right? That's all sending us the FBI press release. That's all sending a very clear message, right? Like, we are still in control. You know, we are the ones that issue money. So, you know, take self-custody, run a node, get yourself a Start 9. There's a promo code in the description. Simply Bitcoin, get 9% off. Yeah, I think we'll win this thing. Anyways, guys, before we move on to the next section, I do want to give a very, very special shout out to our new sponsor. Of course, I am talking about the Pleb Party. It is happening this year. If you're going to the Bitcoin 2024 conference in Nashville, definitely get your tickets to the Pleb Party at Bitcoin Nashville 2024. It's a 12-hour open bar from noon to midnight in Nashville, the day before the biggest conference in the US, Thursday, July 25th. The last Pleb Party in Miami was sold out 8 days before. Confirmed attendees include Larry Lepard, Preston Pish, the entire Simply Bitcoin crew, James Lavish, Robert Breedlove, Mark Moss, Pubby, Tatum. Amazing venue of rustic automobile factory from 1910 with brick walls and tons of proof of work atmosphere. Over 1,000 Bitcoin plebs are expected. Get your tickets now at plebpartynashville.com. Guys, this is the type of thing where you're like, oh, I'm not gonna get my tickets. I'm gonna wait for whatever, and then everyone ends up going to this thing, and you're not gonna be able to get in unless you have a ticket. So get your tickets now. They also rise in price, so you can scan the QR code or go to plebpartynashville.com today. All right, everybody, let's hit the news. We have a lot to talk about.
The Daily News.
I want to give a shout out to our sponsor, Foundation Devices. It's self-custody done right. They built a premium grade hardware wallet called Passport right here in the US. It's fully open source and verifiable. It's the most intuitive Bitcoin wallet designed with a UX reminiscent of a simple feature phone. So you will know how to navigate it and use it the moment you pick it up. Get your Bitcoin off exchanges and into your own hands in just a few minutes. Experience the peace of mind that comes with taking ownership of your own keys. After a massive sellout during Bitcoin Miami 2023, the Passport is back in stock at foundationdevices.com. Bitcoin only, open source verifiable, completely air-gapped security model, gorgeous design craft, premium grade materials. If you're thinking about getting your Bitcoin off exchanges, this is the one for you. Check out the Passport link in the show notes below to learn more. All right, self-custody is the revolution. Get yourself a Passport by Foundation Devices. It's very easy to use. You could pair it up with the Envoy app, and it makes Bitcoin in cold storage easy to spend. And remember, guys, self-custody is the revolution. So get yourself a Passport by Foundation devices today. Scan the QR code or check the link in the video /podcast description. Anyways, what I want to talk about today is Jack Dorsey. Jack Dorsey's block adding more Bitcoin to balance sheet and presents roadmap for others. It goes on to say payments firm Block has begun a dollar cost averaging program to add to its already sizable Bitcoin stack. Led by CEO Jack Dorsey, the company in April began using 10% of its monthly Bitcoin-related gross profit to buy additional Bitcoin, with plans to do this each month for the remainder of 2024. For perspective, Block had $80 million in Bitcoin gross profit in the first quarter, according to its earning results. Were that level of profit to continue through the rest of the year, the company under the program would add another 24 million worth of Bitcoin to its balance sheet. Block already had substantial Bitcoin holdings, having purchased 4,709 Bitcoins in October 2020, another 3,318 tokens in early 2021. At today's price of about 59,000, that Bitcoin is now worth roughly 4.7 billion. Alongside that news, the company also released its Bitcoin blueprint for corporate balance sheets, in which it describes the process through which it is able to acquire large amounts of the crypto without unduly moving the market, and how it custodies, insures, and accounts for the holdings. Look, I can't, and I believe, if my memory serves me correctly, I believe Michael Saylor did something very similar, but this is incredibly important. And the reason for that is this is what's going to happen this epoch, right? Michael Saylor has been vindicated. Clearly, the MicroStrategy Bitcoin strategy is working. MicroStrategy has outperformed everything else. And here you have another very notable company. You have a notable figure, Jack Dorsey, basically saying like, look, we're adopting a Bitcoin strategy. We're going to put 10% of our profits each quarter into Bitcoin. And here's the thing, as number go up does its thing, market forces start to do what market forces do best. And then other companies that are competitors of Block, other companies that are competitors of MicroStrategy, start to be at a major disadvantage for them not adopting a Bitcoin strategy as well. So I think Jack Dorsey is definitely accelerating mass adoption, at least on the corporate level, with this move. This is very, very positive news. And remember, guys, like, look, there's not enough Bitcoin to go around, right? So like the daily supply that already got cut in half, it's just getting gobbled up. What do you think's going to happen, right? It's just common sense. And then just kind of if you connect this with what we were talking about yesterday, the second largest European bank they're not buying Bitcoin directly. I don't know if they can, but they announced that they're buying exposure to Bitcoin through BlackRock's Bitcoin ETF. Now, the second largest bank in Europe, BNP Paribas, I think I pronounced that correctly. Now they have the cheat code. Now they have a competitive advantage to every other bank that is not adopting a Bitcoin strategy. So I think game theory is going to take foot very, very quickly as, you know, this cycle continues to ramp up, as number go up does its thing, and Block is going to have an advantage. This bank is going to have an advantage. MicroStrategy is going to have an advantage. And I think the likes of Facebook, Google, all the Tesla, Tesla already has, I believe. But these companies, they're going to get left behind if they don't start putting Bitcoin on their balance sheet. And look, a lot of these companies have a tremendous amount of cash, right? And it's like sitting on a melting ice cube, right? They can compensate for losing that purchasing power on a yearly basis, which they're okay with because they're so profitable. They can compensate for that if they just put 1%, 2%, 3% of their cash reserves into Bitcoin. And I think it's just a matter of time. And you're starting to see the dam break with these types of moves. So once again, I think Jack Dorsey leading the charge, and I think it's a good thing. Anyways, I want to get your guys' takes. Start off with Alex. I feel like this is up your alley. What's up, man?
Yeah. So this is not surprising to me at all. Actually, we've been saying this for a long time, even back in the, when I was the host of Cafe Bitcoin doing that, talking about how like the Saylor sort of playbook of using your balance sheet, using the profits from your company to put more Bitcoin on your balance sheet as a part of your treasury, like it becomes a no-brainer over time. And I think one thing we've been saying is you're going to see lots of companies copy this playbook. By the thousands, I think. In time, you'll see thousands of companies doing this. And eventually, if it's not already happening, you're going to see central banks doing it. Now, when central banks do it, they're not going to announce it. That'll be done completely in secret. You'll find out much, much later that they've done this. But I think all of these things are inevitable.
100%. I think it's inevitable. The game theory is the game theory. Anyways, guys, there's 900 of you guys watching live between YouTube, Rumble, and X. So if you guys are enjoying the show right now, make sure to smash that like button. It tells the algos to push the orange signal forward. Shane, what's your take on this, brother?
I think it's really interesting to see European banks going in through the BlackRock ETF. When you understand, who BlackRock is basically the Fed's trading arm, and that they're storing these things in Coinbase. This may be anecdotal, but the idea that you're going to move your reserves from Europe over to the U.S. into Coinbase, and God knows if they ever fork the code through BlackRock, then you have to take the tokens that they fork to, and that money is just sitting there for the Federal Reserve. Raises a lot of questions in what's going on for me, and I can't think that they've done their due diligence in understanding any of this in terms of Bitcoin. But yeah, it definitely looks like it's I don't know. It looks like this is going to continue. The side that I see, on a daily basis over at Swan is, we have more and more businesses coming in with lots and lots and lots of money, and we're in a crab market right now. So if we're in a crab market and we're seeing people getting out of the blocks, and maybe this is the slow part, later on this summer, this fall, as we head into the election season and everything else that's going on, I totally expect this to accelerate.
100%. I actually agree. It's just game theory. It's like common sense, right? Where this is going. Opti, what's your take, brother?
Yeah, well, first and foremost, I absolutely love seeing Jack Dorsey turn Block into a de facto Bitcoin company. They're making the BitKey. They got TBD where they're doing development. We have Cash App that you can not only buy Bitcoin, but you can turn your corporate payments into Bitcoin. It's just like, Jack Dorsey, in my opinion, is killing it right now. And I know the chat's going to say, well, he was part of Twitter and all that stuff. But what he's doing now, I think, makes up for a lot of the stuff that you might hate him for. And I absolutely love seeing this move right here. Just doing a consistent monthly buy pressure for Bitcoin heading into a bull run. It's going to be absolutely marvelous to watch. And like we're saying, more companies are going to follow this lead. And everyone out there, I highly suggest you read the press release. Because it's a great read. And he absolutely open sourced his whole strategy, wants people to come talk to him and follow lead. And I think, like Shane just said, when we see other corporations follow this, it's really when things are going to kick into overdrive. I saw Luke Broads do a great thread this morning about the Apple stock buybacks. They did 110 billion stock buyback this morning. I think it's the largest one ever. And imagine if they did that and then did the sailor move and bought Bitcoin. It's like, I don't think people really understand what the game's being played right now. And of course, we're more freedom go up maxis, but everyone loves number go up. So it's once this playbook starts to really kick into overdrive, it's going to be absolute fireworks. So it's just, man, we're still in the early innings, and shouts at the Jack Dorsey for again, putting his money where his mouth is and just being like, yeah, we're going to consistently DCA into Bitcoin. And yeah, it's not a sailor move where they're buying hundreds of millions or 100,000 coins, but every month a consistent what they say they're going to buy 24 million this year. So that's going to be, a consistent couple of million buy pressure every month. That's going to be great. That's going to be setting the floor. And then once other people follow this, I don't think you guys are ready for what's coming. You guys are too bearish in the chat. I can see you guys.
It's going
Wait,
up.
actually, Nico's too bearish in the chat.
It's going up. It's going up forever. It's going up forever. Anyways, the next topic that I wanted to talk about is Opti's exes. So first, we're going to start with, of course, you guys know Christine Lagarde. You guys know Augustin Carson. But breaking news, you guys didn't know this, Brian Armstrong as well. So why do I want to talk about Brian Armstrong? Brian Armstrong.
Yo.
Looks like the guy from Dune.
I had to figure out a segue somehow. Oh man.
Only he's got a much bigger dome. Like the guy from Dune, just with a bigger egghead.
Bro, Opti gets plugged in, man. Opti shoots high.
Hold on. I'm gonna full screen myself. I'm trying to get the bag. All right, can you blame me? I need to stack more sets.
Oh man. Okay. So why am I talking about Brian Armstrong? Look, I think all of us here, right? Not a fan of Coinbase, obviously, the largest shitcoin casino in the United States. However, they finally integrated Bitcoin's Lightning Network, and the reality is that they have a ridiculous amount of users. So I think this is very positive for the Lightning Network. I know that there was a tremendous amount of pressure on Opti's X from Bitcoin Twitter, and it seems like he came through in this sense. So I think this is great for Bitcoin adoption, for the Lightning Network, and it kind of defeats the purpose for a lot of those shitcoins that are being peddled on Coinbase, right? Because a lot of the narratives from people were that this is faster than Bitcoin. Bitcoin can't scale. Now all of a sudden, if they're offering Lightning for withdrawals, it's kind of counterintuitive, I would say. But who would have thought, out of all people, in this world, Brian Armstrong, played such I would say a big role in potentially Lightning adoption. So anyways, I know that is not exactly the most Bitcoiner thing to say, but Coinbase has a massive user base. I think the last time I think it was like 100 million users or something. Anyways, Opti, what's your take on this? And then we'll move on to Shane and Alex.
Yeah, well, I'm not a big fan of Coinbase, even though Coinbase is like the first platform that I bought Bitcoin with. And, they're still the biggest platform out there. And people still don't understand that like Coinbase is it's not just an exchange. But hey, that's all besides the point. I'll give them their props. I'll give them their flowers when they do something good. And this is one of those good things. It's like now their whole shitcoin narrative, in my opinion, is absolutely dead. I haven't used this, but I love to see when more exchanges start using Lightning. I think that's an important thing to see. And shouts out to Lightning Goats. He says he tried it and it's absolute trash. So, hey, I haven't used it. But at least they are making moves. Brian Armstrong, I think what was it like last year, Nico? Walker America was like tweeting at him about using Lightning, and he didn't even know that he could use it. Or no, it was Lightning addresses. And now at least
he thought it was an
email, and at least now they're making some moves. It might be like 2 years late, but at least they're making moves to do it. So hey, it's a good thing to see. I can't wait to see it. Basically every Bitcoin exchange and even shitcoin casinos use Lightning, because in my opinion, it disproves the whole narrative for shitcoins. Like that's the whole reason for most shitcoins' existence. It's like, oh, Bitcoin's slow and clunky. It only has 7 transactions per second, bro. Like it's like now just use Lightning. This is a good thing to see. But hey, hopefully,
dude.
Oh my god.
Oh man, that's hilarious. Anyways, Shane, Alex, what's your guys' takes on this?
I mean, Brian Armstrong is that guy that's just notoriously slipped through the fingers of the U.S. government in securities fraud. But I don't know. I've got clients that come to me every day that are trying to run away from Coinbase as fast as possible. And if they're introducing Lightning to help them run away, then that's great. The problem is if their Lightning runs like their on-chain withdrawals, then it's still, zero, right? Guy after guy after guy that's trying to get away from these guys. Like, hey, they're not allowing me to take my Bitcoin off their exchange. I don't know. Maybe it works. Maybe it doesn't. If it's trash and we're already hearing that it's trash, I wouldn't be the least bit surprised. When markets move and they want to, clamp down and have an issue with their software or firmware or user interface or whatever they're going to blame it on that day. I think that's still going to happen over there at Coinbase. So.
Oh man.
Yeah, to Shane's point, how are they going to shut down now, for operations when they're using the Lightning? Yeah, when the circuit breaker with Lightning.
Circuit breaker. Alex, what's your take on this?
I think you got to remember that Coinbase that they generate a majority of their revenue by churning shitcoins. I think it's something like 80% of their revenue is generated by churning shitcoins. And they're in a situation right now where the SEC is still coming after them for this. Like, there's a fair chance that the SEC will prevail in this situation. And if that is the case, then the reality is that Coinbase has been making a market in unregistered securities for a really long time. And if they're forced to stop doing that, that's a huge part of their revenue base. So it's possible that they might just be looking at it from a strategic perspective going, man, we may have to repair relationships with the Bitcoiners, because if we have to stop selling shit coins, we're kind of fucked as a business. So maybe we need to make friends with these guys again.
Dude, I mean, that's a really good take, but I don't know if they could salvage that relationship. Anyways, guys, let's move on to the culture, talk about Bitcoin veterans. But before we do that, I do want to give a shout out to our sponsor. Of course, I'm talking about the Orange Pill app. Best place to stack friends who stack sats. Find local Bitcoiners, events, and merchants. Join the 10,137 Bitcoiners that are currently on the app. The Orange Pill app is the Bitcoin social layer. Has a very, very interesting filtration system, so you'll only find fellow Bitcoiners on the app. It also has this geographical feature. So if you move to a new city or you're traveling and you don't know any Bitcoiners around you, you can open up the Orange Pill app and it will tell you geographically the Bitcoiners that are around you. So guys, I'm on the Orange Pill app. It's one of the best ways to reach me at Opti. You guys could send us a direct message. Download the Orange Pill app today, scan the QR code, or check the link in the video description. All right, everybody, let's hit the culture. Here we go.
The Daily Culture.
All right, everybody, I want to tell you about our sponsor, KABOOMRACKS, the most trusted place to buy, sell, and host mining equipment. And they currently have a sale right now. You could scan the QR code. It'll take you directly to the sale, or you could check the link in the video description. They currently offer instant hosting of a Bitmain Antminer S19K Pro, 120 terahashes, instant hosting. You'll get off the ground very, very quickly. Only 7 cents or roughly 8 cents kilowatt per kilowatt hour for a 12-month hosting contract. So if you want to start Bitcoin mining right now, you can start the QR code. So guys, check out the offering by KABOOMRACKS. It's a special sale. They're offering instant hosting for the S19K Pro. There's a one-time payment of $2,466. Your hash rate goes online after your payment is confirmed. Instant hosting. You own the miner. This is not a hash rate contract. The equipment is already online and has been running, so it has a very low chance of DOA. The price includes a 3-month security deposit and first month. And the hosting price is at a low rate of 0.079 kilowatt per hour. Anyways, guys, check out KABOOMRACKS today. It's where I personally buy my Bitcoin mining ASICs. Opti?
KABOOMRACKS. Okay. No, we're here with the boys, Shane and Alex from Bitcoin Veterans. You guys kind of already gave the TLDR, but for everyone that's coming up later, what is the mission of Bitcoin Veterans and what are you guys doing?
Shane, why don't you go? I'll follow you up.
Yeah, we thought it was pretty self-explanatory by the title, Bitcoin Veterans. We're Bitcoiners, we're veterans. We're trying to put people back on the mission. Guys that have maybe found some nihilism in their lives, don't have a lot of hope, and still deep down want that freedom, that American idea, self-sovereignty, the little white picket fence, family, and all that fun stuff. We're trying to help guys actually realize that by introducing them to Bitcoin, get them reintroduced to society, so to speak, and give them a mission that is going to, empower them and take charge of that passion that I think they signed up for the military, in good faith, and turn it into, this bright orange future that we're all looking at. So that's kind of a very high level idea of why and how we formed Bitcoin Veterans.
Yeah.
Great. Alex, want to jump in?
Yeah, sure. So my perspective on it is that, like, I think a lot of guys who join the military, not all, and gals, do so because they are what I call sheepdogs. They have an instinct inside of them to protect other human beings, and they signed up for the military thinking that that's what they were going to get to do. They were going to protect their people. And as it turns out, I think a lot of guys who go in figure out after a while that it's not what they thought it was. Like, they'll get out and they'll realize, man, this is a gigantic machine feeding a military industrial complex of nonstop forever wars. And it's the forever wars stuff that I think grates on a lot of veterans. They get out and they're like, man, I dedicated my life to this for X number of years. I signed the dotted line. I agreed to go over and get shot at and possibly blown up and dismembered for what? Like, what are we doing here? You know, you think you're spreading freedom and protecting America when in reality, what you're really doing is you're just feeding this nonstop monster that is never satiated. And that monster is the military industrial complex. They print the money. They pay those guys for the bombs and the missiles and the jets and all the things. And some of those guys get really freaking rich, and our military, the guys who go out there and stand in the gap, go to foreign lands and do the work of these people. You know, they got to carry a lot of bullshit with them for the rest of their freaking life because of that.
Yeah, totally, man. And you know, I think here, I'm pulling up your website so everyone can check it out. Go to bitcoinveterans.org, guys. You guys can follow along. But I think to your point, you guys found such a good market niche because, like you guys are saying, I think for the most part, veterans are, like you say, I love the meme that you have, Alex, of sheepdogs. You know, I think a lot of people do get in for the right reason of wanting to protect America, protect, you know, all the things that we love, especially as Bitcoiners. And to kind of realign their operating system, be like, look, guys, the mission that you wanted is really in Bitcoin, and this is what we're doing. And I just love the community you guys have built. I was on the phone with Mike Hobart last Friday, and he was telling me all of your, I think he kind of called them like decentralized signal groups of, I don't want to say sleeper cells everywhere, but of like, you know, you guys have different groups for different areas so people can be organized in everywhere across America. And you guys are even saying international. So can you talk about that? You guys aren't only a podcast, but you guys are really building a local, you know, bottom up community of veterans around the world getting connected and organized and having great communication and great discussion. I just absolutely love what you guys have been doing.
Yeah, so there's a thing called the Dunbar number, and the Dunbar number basically is there's a certain amount of people that once you go past a certain number of people in an organization, you start to lose some of the cohesion. You get to the point where people don't know each other as well, those types of things. So early on, we agreed that we didn't want to have more than 120 people in any particular group. So as soon as we started hitting the caps on these particular groups, we just started adding more groups, and currently we're up to quite a few. And we have all these different initiatives. As it turns out, a lot of these guys are incredibly intelligent, incredibly skilled. They have all kinds of stuff that they learned from the military that, like, let me tell you what, you don't want these guys on the other team in a forest plotting against you. Like, just as one example, we have this one dude who is a former CITC, which is basically a cyber warfare cryptologic kind of super smart dude that used to deploy with the SEAL teams and feed them intelligence info. He's the guy that will, if you're transmitting with a radio in the forest, he will fucking find you. So like these kind of guys are part of the organization, and we've just got all these different initiatives that we're building here. Like the Citadel Network. We've got this channel of a bunch of dudes who either own Citadels or intend to own Citadels. And these are not theoretical. You've heard this like Bitcoin Citadels thing for years. These are not like dreams. These are happening. These guys are building these things right now. And we have other guys who, like, the intention is to create a ham radio relay network all across the United States, linking these things together. So we're going to be doing that in Nashville. We're going to have this thing what we call the BV Citadel. We're going to be testing people to get qualified in ham radio. We're going to have breakout sessions teaching people about mesh-tastic networks, which are basically off-the-grid networks that you can build in your local communities. So if the cell networks go down or whatever, you've got that point of resilience. We're going to have guys there doing contingency planning sessions. These are former military officers, graduates of West Point, so on and so forth, that think adversarially, and they're like, look, this is all the shit that can come against Bitcoin. Are you thinking about this stuff? And we want to get as many developers in there as possible to kind of war game out best ways to defend against this kind of stuff. We're going to have Start9 in there that's going to be doing basically breakout sessions on how to use Start9 servers, all the different things, man. Anyway,
love it.
Rambling there, but yeah.
Dude, keep rambling. It's great. One thing you did talk about the citadels, and I don't want to dox anyone on the show, but you guys are very huge on local communities. So I'm gonna point to Shane. Can you elaborate on the idea of local communities? Obviously, we talk about it here on the show all the time. Bottom up, going local, making sure that you know your neighbor. Like a very simple thing, like talk to your neighbors and make sure that you get more people around you on board with what we're talking about. Because this is why Nico and I always talk about meeting Bitcoiners in meet space, because like it's cool having communication on Twitter and all that, but it's a totally different vibe when you hang out with people in real life. You know that there's people in your neighborhood that are also like-minded. Like you're not as strong being a lone wolf. You need a community of like-minded individuals around you.
Hell yeah, and you breed, like I think it was somebody in the comments said this is not a niche, it's a light. We've got these skill sets. I was a Marine recon guy. We've got Green Berets. We've got Navy SEALs. We've got all these guys who have done inland warfare through Iraq and Afghanistan, where a lot of what we did was we adopted the Green Beret mission, right? It was indigenous force multiplication. For anybody that doesn't speak military, that just means you go into a local population set, you identify some leaders in that set, and then you start working on them, developing these relationships, reaching out, maybe offering a help or a hand, establishing, who might be these, their players, what are their skills, what kind of resources do they have. And at that point, when you can start to do that and you actually have a format for doing that, a blueprint for doing that, you've done it successfully in non-permissive environments. When you come into your own community, your own neighborhood, and building your own citadels, trading with local ranchers, farmers, and things like that, talking to them about Bitcoin and freedom first, a lot of times, meeting them where they're at, you start to see the fruit of these discussions so quickly. You'll start, having bourbon nights. You'll start having dinners together. Maybe, talking to people about, owning a couple of chickens or something. Just, local homesteading, maybe even homeschooling. Like my family's into both of those things. My wife is, an amazing homeschooler. So you start to normalize all these ideas and action items that we want as Bitcoiners. And it starts to pull together a community in a way that I think is palpable. You actually see the results. And so, yeah, these guys have done an amazing job. And I don't want to dox anybody. I'll tell you, this is happening all around the U.S. right now, and we're going to talk about it a lot in Nashville. So, back in the Citadel room, if you're going to be in Nashville, and maybe you're a Bitcoin veteran or Bitcoin adjacent, you can get in contact with us. We'll get you in there for a big discount. But yeah, this move to create orange communities out there through Bitcoin veterans, it's happening now, and it is absolutely amazing to watch these communities start to gravitate around these guys who have seen a thing or two and know a thing or two because of what they've done overseas.
Hell yeah,
amazing.
Dude,
amazing.
I mean, it's very important to have these communities that you guys have built, like this network of people that you can reach out to, and they can rely on you. You can rely on them. It's incredibly important. And of course, I'm not a veteran, never went to war, but I think I love reading about history, right? And one of the things that I've noticed is that when you go through conflict with your brothers, you start to build a very, very special bond that I don't think that you can build in any other type of scenario, right? So the fact that you guys have been able to do this, I think is very important. And not to say anything too direct, but I think over the next couple of years, as the separation of money and state accelerates, I think these types of communities are vital for our cause. Anyways,
can I say one thing to that really quickly? Is that, yeah, I think you're right. Like when you get guys in difficult circumstances, they build really strong bonds. So that is true about dudes who've been in combat together. And then all these veterans, regardless of service, have that kind of thing going on. But I also want to say that, like, part of what I see for Bitcoin veterans going forward in the future is that taking guys who weren't military, and doing things where you face adversity together, and you can build those bonds with dudes who've been through all that kind of stuff too, with guys who haven't been through that kind of stuff. Because we just need to, I think that's a big thing that's missing in Western culture, is the ability to get around dudes who are basically warrior archetypes when you're not a warrior archetype, and sort of just hang out and learn things, right? It's an opportunity to maybe, if you're interested in doing that, learn some stuff, whether that's survival skills, whether it's going out on the range and learning how to shoot, whether it's just like, how do these dudes approach life? Like, how does this dude approach his citadel? What's he doing? Like, how does he raising his family? All these different kinds of things. Like, if you have an interest in that, I think it's really important that BV continues to not just grow with veterans, but everybody else. We want to interact with everybody.
Absolutely.
Love it.
Incredibly important. It's a brotherhood. It's very important. Guys, go check out Bitcoin.
Yeah. Wait, Nico, before we go on,
veterans.org.
How can people contact you? Like, what's that whole process like? Do you guys vet people? Do you vet the vets, or just is everyone allowed here?
Yeah, we vet people, but we just do so in a way that it's like we'll have conversation with them, and it's pretty obvious if somebody's not a veteran. But if you're a civilian, that's okay. We have this thing called this civilian auxiliary division. Like, if you want to get involved with Bitcoin veterans, you can, even as a civilian, if you want. And if you're interested in different things that we're doing, we're more than happy to have you involved. So bitcoinveterans.org. You can also check us out on Twitter at Bitcoin Veterans.
Yeah, and I'll add to that too is, if you're cautious about this group in terms of what we're about, it is peace first. That is the main thing. Is anybody coming into these, they get briefs. This is a peaceful revolution. This is the way we're headed. If you're not on board with that, then you can get the hell out of here. Secondly is, don't worry about not being the veteran, right? This is an extremely accepting crowd. We know we need civilians out there, and we know there are the warrior archetypes, like Alex was saying, that are in the civilian population that didn't waste a lot of their time and effort in the military like a lot of us did. Don't feel like you're behind. It's just one of those things where we want to incorporate you, we want to get you involved, and we want you on the mission with us, because that's what we're going to need to grow.
Love it. Okay,
100%.
Nico, I know you're trying to get to the meme review in the, because of time, but I do want to give Shane and Alex the final 2 sets. It could be about veterans. It could be about life, about Bitcoin. What's the last message you want to leave with the audience?
Well, first of all, thanks for having us on the show. This is an amazing platform. You guys have done a hell of a job. I think you guys understand that if they're fighting us, we're on target. So just keep up. All the pressure, the mimetic warfare that you guys do over here at Simply Bitcoin, it's working. I mean, everything you can do to ridicule these people in their place, and then make sure that they are seen under their own weight for the lies and everything else that they put on the population. Make sure that you just keep pressing, keep moving, be smart about it. But yeah, you guys are all over the target.
Appreciate that, dude. Appreciate that.
Yeah,
Alex?
just a quick final comment on that, on stuff is that, like, for me, I'm just going to say that I will not abide a future where my kids don't know freedom, full stop. And I think Bitcoin is the best weapon we have to fight a peaceful revolution. This is the mission. Like, I believe everybody needs to understand what Bitcoin is. So, like, our goal, all of us as Bitcoiners, you guys, many of you have heard me say this kind of stuff before, is our goal should be to spread the word. Like, that is the mission. Get on the mission. That's it.
Absolutely. Beautiful.
Wait, hold on, Nico. Hold on.
Oh yeah. All right, guys. We still got the meme review. It is Meme Review Friday. There's 1,000. We broke 1,000 live viewers between YouTube, Rumble, and X. So if you guys are enjoying the show, smash the like button. Really, really helps with the algos. All right, everybody. Let's get to the meme review.
Opti's Friday Meme Review.
Dude, we got to do that
Nico,
in Sophie's voice, bro. Like,
I knew you were gonna say that. I knew you were gonna say that, but my voice is so sultry. It fills me up with joy in there.
Opti's Friday. I mean, bro, there's like you had like Christy Lagarde, Augustine, and Brian must have liked your voice. So
hey, well, I may not have a face for TV, but I do have a voice for radio. So I'll take it. I will take it. Okay. Anyways, guys, you guys have been yelling at me all day. You guys are putting pressure on me for the Friday meme review. I get it. Keep tagging me on Twitter. Drop them in a Telegram group. But if you drop them in the Telegram group, guys, will you tag me? Because there's a lot of messages in there. So I don't catch all the memes in there. But if you want it, your meme to get on the show, tag me in Telegram or tag us on Twitter, and I'll bring them on. You guys already know the deal. We are, what do you say, Nico? Narrative trench warfare. You guys are frontline soldiers. Tweets are the bullets. Memes are the artillery.
All right, let me do it.
I did it.
This is narrative trench warfare on the. This is narrative trench warfare on the battlegrounds of the internet. If tweets are if tweets are bullets, memes are artillery.
Let's pull them off.
I said it a lot better live on stage. But anyway,
yeah,
something like
whatever,
that. Something like.
Anyways, continue to ridicule the corporate press, continue to get the calls of actions out there, and continue to make the funnies so your friends' heads stay in the game. Okay, first one is by our. Actually, I just realized there's a lot of nepotism on today's meme review. So hey, it is what it is. It is what it is. First one is Rustin, our boy Rustin. Go watch his Simply Originals. He's been killing it on our channel. 10-minute clips, absolutely hilarious. Probably has the best voice in Bitcoin creation and content creation. He's a character. Love him. All right. So at Stats for Live on Twitter, and he just goes, the GOAT. And we got a girl here on her phone, and she goes, oh my God, what the hell is happening in the world right now? And then we got Ron Paul on a computer, and he goes, exactly what the fuck I told you was going to happen 14 years ago. And you can see grocery prices 70%, gas prices up 67%, housing costs up 53%, and wars up 100%. All right, great. Next one's my boy Rope, aka at Ropium on Twitter, and he goes, fair warning. And this is the classic office meme. I forget what the guy's name is. Jim. He's pointing at the whiteboard, and he goes, learn about Bitcoin, then consider buying some, and then take it into self-custody before the only way you can acquire it is to work for Bitcoin. It's looking that way. All right, next one, my boys over at Orange Label. And this is a classic guy in the corner looking at everyone partying, and they don't know meme. And today he's got an FBI hat, and it goes, they don't know, they're all unlicensed money transmitters. Guys, we're all unlicensed money transmitter. Your wallet is an unlicensed money transmitter at this point. Okay, this next one is actually, let's give Wine double memes today, because he yells at me all the time. So first one, nothing there, but at Weinecke on Twitter, and he's got a quarter, and it goes, flips 256 times, come and take it. And then the next one is, after 255 coin flips, if you flip that coin one more time, I'll arrest you. And we got the classic, I think it's Pixar, I don't know what it is, but there's a cop running at you. Guys, we're criminals for flipping coins here. I'm actually going super hard today on last week's news. So Nico, forgive me, but it is what it is. This next one is Pedro at Retweet, and we got the classic PSYOP Fed boys at the protests here, and it goes, hey man, want to do a peer-to-peer coin join with me? Oh man, absolutely incredible. And the last one, I got to give Cynthia Lummis a shout out. Come and take it with the Bitcoin logo. This is the way. All right, guys, you already know the deal. Drop your meme review score in the chat, and we will cover ours live, or cover yours live and ours live. So we'll give you some time. But in the meantime, Nico, what is your meme review score?
Oh, man. I mean, I don't think I'm prepared.
All right, I'm ready. All right. I got some orange juice here, but it's not orange juice. It's actually carrot juice, because apparently it's like good for my gut or something. I don't know. I'm trying to figure out my diet here. Your boy's been breaking out a little too much. I'm trying to figure this out. Okay, so let's go to Shane. What is your meme review score?
5 out of 5, 10 out of 10.
Okay.
On a Friday afternoon.
Let's go.
Pretty dope.
Yeah, so all you guys in the chat telling me I need to step up my meme review, Shane says I killed it, okay? All right, Alex, what's your meme review score?
Yeah, I'm going to give those memes one hollow 0.9 millimeter round.
Oh, metaphorically, as Nico always says, 9mm bullet.
There goes the YouTube feed.
Symbolically, I don't know. How do we?
Sorry, YouTube.
Wait.
That wasn't a weapon. That wasn't a
weapon. Can you do the click again? More near the microphone. Oh, there we go.
We got that Simply Bitcoin Veterans ASMR.
Okay,
wow.
There we go. All right, Nico. Okay. What are you pulling out of the junk drawer?
I'm gonna give it an orange Bitcoin pin.
Yeah. Nice.
Yeah,
that's a good one. That's a good one.
That's my score.
Okay, let's see. Let me see. Right. Some of these were dropped a little too early before the show, so redrop them now so that I can get to them. Let's see. Where is the first one?
We got some on Rumble, dude.
Okay, here we go.
Cue the music, bro. Cue the music. There we go. All right, Keith. I give the memes a cup of coffee that Alex Jones drinks before he recites from the ancients. All right, next one from Elaine. Bitcoin screams when every theme becomes a meme on every stream. This is not a dream.
They want the hour meme review show, Nico.
Oh, wow. Okay. You and Wine could host that. Okay. JH.
You heard it here first, Wine.
My girl on Rumble. JH. My girlfriend gives these memes one come and take it. Very good.
Oh,
very good.
dirty.
Very good. All right. Matt Fry. I rate the memes 4 chickens to freedom. What? Wineicus. Bullying Opti is not a meme. It's life. Oh my god.
Yes.
That is hilarious.
Yes, this is true.
Okay. Tore up Hodl. Meme score is the BTC Vets YouTube intro. Okay.
All right. Also, Nico, they're telling us we need to update our intro because they're killing us on their intro.
Huh?
I'll tell you later.
Okay. Satwise Janks. I give the memes. Nico and Opti providing pure signal every day. Thank you, bro. Appreciate it. Next one we got UTXO. I give the memes a 100% organic diet for clear skin. Okay.
Guys, I love bread. I'm sorry.
Opti was Samurai doxed and proud of it. Says getting super high with my.
Are you not reading it?
I'm not reading it. Matthew J. Meme review score. I give the memes 1 Bitcoin veterans flag to plant in DC peacefully. Next one, Robert Schmidt gives the memes a spicy Italian sausage with kraut and cheese.
That sounds delicious.
Where do you come up with this? Multi-stacker 1010. This is the way. Face fuchsia tongue out. Okay. This knock meme score. No clue what to say, but need to fill the score quota. Okay, and Mac Hafar, an army of veterans with a new mission to hold the line against tyranny. Primary weapon of choice, Bitcoin, just Bitcoin.
Okay, we ran out on YouTube, but I wait. Let's do Rumble. Let's show Rumble some love. So we got Idle Threat. He goes, meme review today. No Nico wet blanket this week. Don Bali meme score. Get the Bitcoin from my cold storage. MFers. Yeah. Okay. There we go. Oops, wrong one.
All right, we it's the buzzer. We don't run out of scores. It's always the buzzer.
Yeah,
Anyways, guys, thank you so much for tuning into Simply Bitcoin Live this week. We made it through the week. Guys, have an amazing weekend. I'm your host, Nico. It's my legendary co-host, Optimus Fields. Our guests today, Alex Stanzik and Shane Hazel from the Bitcoin Veterans. Gentlemen, why don't you tell everybody where they can find you on the interwebs?
BitcoinVeterans.org, guys. You can drop us a line. We really appreciate the platform. Thank you, guys.
I appreciate you guys for coming on. All right, guys, have an amazing weekend. If you guys enjoyed the content, like, subscribe, and share the content. Share Bitcoin content. We got to win this. Anyways, guys.
Go touch some grass this weekend, guys.
Yeah, one last message from our guest. See you guys later.
Just like the Bible says, it's basically an intergalactic invasion into this space through people. I'm telling you, it's what all the ancients said. It's what they warned of. It's what we're dealing with. They're demons. They're
Episode was brought to you by BitcoinWell.com, on a mission to enable independence.